Welcome back, friends. Today we're going to be looking at one of the most used homeschool curriculums out there, The Good and the Beautiful, specifically their language arts for upper elementary, middle school kiddos. I'm going to be sharing what I liked, what I didn't like. Will we be using it this upcoming school year? I don't know. Stick around to find out. Welcome back, friends. If you're new here, my name is Michelle and I am a homeschooling mama of 4, ages 13 to 5 months. And we are going into our 4th year of homeschooling. I used to be a public school teacher for a few years before I decided to focus on being a stay-at-home mom, and I pulled my kiddos out for us to homeschool. Now, I am not an expert in homeschooling by any means, but I feel like we've been doing this for a little while now that I'm finally able to realize what my kids, what works for my kiddos and what doesn't work for them. We're going to be looking at The Good and the Beautiful's Language Arts Level 6. So my kiddos are currently in 3rd, 6th, and 7th grade. My older two, they are both using The Good and the Beautiful's Language Arts Level 6. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right in on what I liked about their language arts. So the first pro is that it really is open and go. There isn't any prep that you have to do once you purchase it. That's it. It comes with everything that you need and your kids are pretty much on their own. There is a few little things that you have to do with them in the beginning, like dictating a sentence for them to write down or going over some vocabulary. But for the most part, they are meant to do this pretty independently. Now, this was a big pro for me, especially in the beginning, because I was still working full time. So my kids, I needed them to have something where they could do it on their own and I can just come at the end and check it. So that was a big pro for me. And you're going to see why that eventually became a con. But before I get to that, another pro that I liked about their language arts is that it is affordable. So compared to other curriculums, The Good and the Beautiful, they are very affordable, which was another thing that we were looking at when we were first getting started. And you can even get this for free too. So they do offer their language arts and math as a free PDF download. So that is a huge pro, especially if you're not sure if you want to commit fully on a specific curriculum. You can go to their website and you can just download the first few lessons and see how you like it, see how your kids do with it. So that is a huge pro. Another thing that I really liked about it is that they do include multiple subjects. So right here on the cover, it says it has your literature, grammar and usage, punctuation. It has art, which is done really beautifully. That is a pro. I do love their art. It has geography, which is also done very beautifully. It has spelling, vocabulary, and it has writing. So right there, it includes so many things in one. So you could even get away with just having this and their math because it includes so much other things in there. It already has art. It already has geography. You technically don't need a separate curriculum for grammar and spelling because it's all included in here. So that was a pro for me, especially again, when we first started. I was still working. I needed something where they can pick up and go work on it and I would check it off later on in the day. So that was something that was a positive for me. And the last thing that I really enjoyed about them is that their literature really is beautiful. So even my son, he is almost done with this one, The Little Lord Hartley, and he is enjoying it so much. So I do like that it includes their independent readers with them, and for the most part, their independent readers are pretty good. My kids like it. They don't fight me over having to read it, so that is a plus for me. So here's a little look at one of their lessons just to give you an idea of what the inside looks like. So again, it does have a small little portion that the parent does with the child, but for the most part, they're working pretty independently. What I used to do is that we would just do this afterwards when I was done with work, and we'd come back to it. But it's pretty straightforward. They have some spelling, reading to do, go over some vocabulary words. Here they're working on grammar, different spelling rules, abbreviations. Move into a little writing activity on how to write an opening paragraph. Sentence diagramming. And here is a little geography that's included. And this is the next lesson, but I wanted to show you guys the art portion. Like, this is beautiful. I love the full colors that they include in here. It really is done very beautifully, so I can't complain about that part. Like, I am in love with the images that they include here. It's so breathtaking. So those were my pros. Now on to the cons. The first one is their writing. So I really wanted to love it, but I am just not a fan of how they handled writing in this curriculum. As I said, my kids are in 6th and 7th grade, and depending on how your state classifies things, that means that they are middle schoolers. And I just realized the other day that my daughter will be going into 8th next year, which means she only has 1 more year before she moves on to high school. And I don't know about you, but I feel like middle school in itself is just a completely different beast. And there's such a big jump between lower elementary and middle school, especially when it comes to writing. They're going from putting a sentence or two together to figuring out how to write a full-on essay. And for me, I feel like that skill needs to be taught explicitly. Like, they need to hold your hand for that, because it's so crucial. And that was one thing that I didn't really enjoy. When it came to my kids, they just were not retaining the things that the lesson was showing them. One thing that their math curriculum does is that it has a video lesson with each lesson. And I kind of feel like they should have done that with their language arts. I think that it really would have made a difference if they would have had that video portion to walk the kids through the process, instead of having them just read a little blurb on what a topic sentence is, and then here you are, figure out how to do it yourself. So I do think that videos would have been helpful. And I will say that they are going to be coming up with upgraded versions. So maybe that's something they include in the updated one. I don't know, but I'm excited to find out and see, because another con was that it's really outdated. There's so many things on there that were hard for my kids to even comprehend. It's really outdated, and even though it's meant to be independent, I don't think that they were able to do it on their own without me helping them through it. So earlier I mentioned how one of my pros was that it's open and go, and it includes multiple different subjects in there. It has your language arts, it has your geography, it has your art, your spelling, vocabulary. This is your all-in-one. You don't need anything else to go along with it. In my case, I soon found out that that's not completely true, depending on what works for your kiddos. Like I said, I felt that their writing was a little bit short on here. There wasn't enough explicit instruction, and I don't think there was enough practice for them either when it came to writing specifically. So I did have to outsource a lot of things, and eventually what we ended up doing was putting their Good and the Beautiful ELA to the side for a little bit, and I just started adding in my own things. So here's some of the things that I added for my kids that we have continued to do that replaced our writing and our spelling and grammar. So here are some of the things that we've added in lieu of using the Good and the Beautiful's language arts. So first thing that I added in is Fix-It grammar. So I actually had my older two work through this independently last year. And at the time, it kind of just felt like busy work to me. I didn't think that they were retaining a lot of it. Turns out they actually were, but we're using it a little bit different this year. We are using it family style. So I'm not using the independent workbook. Instead, I'm only using the teacher's manual, and I will put it up on our board. And even my third grader, he joins in with us. They write the sentence down in their notebooks as copy work and correct any of the mistakes that are on there. And then I also downloaded these little grammar posters that I found on Teachers Pay Teacher. And whatever we're working on, I make sure to have these out for them so that they can go back and reference them if they forget what a prepositional phrase is or an adjective. They have these for them. So I don't have a very big homeschooling, a separate like classroom that we use. We typically do our homeschooling in the kitchen, in our dining room table. So these come in handy, especially if you don't have the space to write all of these things down. I was trying to do anchor charts, and that quickly just got a little bit out of control, hanging it all over my kitchen. So these are a lifesaver. We just pull them out as we need them. So that's one thing that I added in. So another thing that I added in, book studies. So we're actually working on 2 separate book studies at the moment. We are reading Hatchet, and we are also doing The Ogress and the Orphan. So one day we'll do Hatchet, next day we'll do The Ogress, and we kind of just rotate it that way. So for Hatchet, I am using this book study guide by Perry and Pine curriculum. And so far, my kids have really been enjoying it, and I have as well. So each chapter includes a comprehension question. Let's see if I can, here we go. So each chapter includes a comprehension question for before and after we read that chapter. Sometimes I'll just have them tell me what happened instead of writing it down. It depends on what we're working on. But this part right here, for the most part, we'll just do it orally. And it also has so many different writing activities for them to do. So this is one that my kids are actually working on today. And it says, imagine you're stranded on a deserted island and you won't be rescued for 2 weeks. What would you do to try to survive until help came? So that's what all 3 of my kiddos are working on today. Even my 3rd grader, he likes to jump in and do it with us. And I really like this because it includes so many different activities, and I can pick and choose what we do, but they're getting that practice. So the other book study that we are doing is The Ogress and the Orphan. And I've shared before that I'm using a book study that Nancy from Jack and Lynn created, and we're loving and enjoying that one so far. But I've also been using this book sort of as my spine to teach them other writing skills. So for example, right now, my kids and we are working on writing persuasive essays. So we are going over thesis, we're going over the topic sentence, we're going over key details, and we're using this book to help us write it out. And our topic is fear stronger than kindness? And they have to decide yes or no. They have to pick a side, and we are taking it really slow. We are doing step by step. I'm walking right along with them on everything that goes into our persuasive essay. So yeah, it might take us quite some time to get through it, but at least I know that my kids, they're really comprehending, and they're really getting the skill that they need. And that is one thing that I feel was missing. I feel like it needed more of that hand holding. I do feel like they do need their hands held, especially with a skill that they're just learning how to do. And so yeah, that's one thing that we're doing. And along with that, like I said, I'm not really an expert on homeschooling. When I taught public school, I taught kindergarten and first grade. So middle school is a whole nother monster for me. So I need some outside help. And the writing revolution was that outside help for me. So this book was recommended to me, and I love it. I use it every single day that we are working on writing. And we were working on our topic, sentence, and details. And this has so many different examples here for you to walk your kiddos through. It has different levels. So I'm able to use this short little example for my third grader, and then we can use the more advanced example for my older two. So I love that this makes it so simple, and I can just pull it out. I can just look at what topic that we're working on, what skill that we're working on that day, and this can help me walk my kiddos through it. So that's something that has been super, super helpful for me as we figure this whole thing out. So that's what I've been using for language arts and writing for my older two kiddos. Now, full disclaimer, this was my review for the upper elementary, their higher level language arts. I will say for the lower elementary, I love their language arts and how they did it. My third grader, he's currently working through their level 3. He's done their kindergarten, first and second grade level, and he has excelled. He flies through them. I love the booster cards, the stories that come with it. Those do include videos, and also those are their upgraded versions. So like I said, they're going to be updating these as well. So I'm excited to see some of those changes. But for the lower elementary, as of now, huge fan, love it, can't complain. Now, with that being said, going forward, what are my plans for the 2025-2026 school year? And I kind of surprised myself with this decision, but for the upcoming school year, I am not purchasing any language arts curriculum. That goes for my third incoming fourth grader. He'll be in fourth grade next year. I will not be purchasing the language arts curriculum for him, and I will not be purchasing a language arts curriculum for my older two either. I've actually really been enjoying doing our ELA together and using the book studies. The beauty about language arts and writing is that it is so easy to be able to incorporate your other subjects to work on a specific skill. We can easily use our history or our science or even our Bible lesson that we're doing and try to tie in and a skill or an essay. We can compare things, so we can work on our writing that way. And I really love that we're working at our own pace. We can take a week, 2, even a month to work on one paper if that's what my kids need, and for me to make sure that they're really getting that skill, they're really understanding everything that we're doing, that we're laying that strong foundation. And for my kiddo, especially my middle guy, he's very stuck on lesson numbers. And that it was a big thing for us even now, because like I said, I put us on hold. So they're not working through this right now while we're working on our book studies. And even now, he'll still come to me and say, I need to work on this because I'm still on, I think they're on like lesson 48 around there. And he is adamant that level 6 stands for grade 6. I can't move to 7th grade if I'm still stuck on grade 6 here. So it's a little thing, but that kind of throws his flow at least. And I feel like if we eliminate that part, then it kind of takes that little burden off of him too. So that was just a little tiny thing. Maybe your kid is the same, but for mine, pausing this kind of threw him off a little bit. So next year we won't be using it. But I haven't gotten rid of it completely. If there's days where I'm not able to work one-on-one with my kiddos, I do tell them, hey, go ahead, grab your language arts and work on the next lesson on there. So if we have it, might as well use it. We haven't just tossed it completely. My kids do come back to it once in a blue here and there, but for the most part, we are doing our own thing, and I think that's what we're going to be doing next year. Things might change. There's still a few months left, but for the most part, that is my plan. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more homeschooling, motherhood, and faith content. And I would really, really love to just connect with you guys. Let me know in the comments if you homeschool. Is this your first year? How many years have you been homeschooling for? If you're homeschooling middle schoolers, do you feel the same way as me, that it is a completely different beast on its own? What have been your favorite resources to use? What's your plan for next year? I look forward to reading your comments, and thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye guys.